Hey, Michelle here with the Magic is You podcast. And in this episode, I wanted to talk about an approach to working that is changing my life. It's so powerful and yet so simple. I have talked about it to my Say Yes to Desire community, Sacred Systems, and I might have mentioned it on the podcast, but just in case I didn't, here we go. It basically is a cadence where you do a little bit of work and then you do an act of self-care and then you do some more work and then you do another act of self-care and you just go back and forth throughout the time that you spend working. And ideally, you would have a timer so that it would remind you to stop working and then do an act of self-care. I literally created a tool dedicated to this approach. It's called Tender Timer. I'll put the link in the description. It's on my website. It's free. And it's basically a page where you choose how long you want to work, and then the timer starts. And then when the timer goes off, it reminds you to take a break and do an act of self-care. And on the page, there are also videos that you plug in from YouTube for micro acts of self-care. So like 5 minutes of face yoga, 5 minutes of stretching, 5 minutes of meditation. And so you can create your own little library of self-care videos and basically go back and forth between start the timer, do some work, timer goes off, do an act of self-care. And going through your workday like this, well, for me, it does several things. Number one is every time I do an act of self-care, it's like I'm coming home to myself and reconnecting to myself. And I'm realizing how working tends to put me in a place where I feel good, I'm excited, I'm doing things I love, but I'm also kind of the longer I work, the more I disconnect from myself and the more I am just someone doing things. And when I do an act of self-care, it's like I go back to just being myself versus doing stuff. Like there's this shift from doing to being. And I find that that shift actually makes me better at the work that I do. Like the more I can ground myself in the fact that I am Michelle, I am a person, I'm a human being, and I deserve to take breaks. I deserve to take care of myself. I'm not just here to get things done. I deserve rest. I deserve pleasure. I deserve joy. I deserve self-care. The more I reconnect with that throughout the day, the better I am at work because there's more beingness energy in the doing, which makes what I do better. And also it kind of has this effect where I don't have to do as much. And I find that this is just a truth where the more we connect with ourselves as humans and like our humanness, like the less that we just go through life like a machine getting things done, and the more we connect with ourselves as human beings, it almost makes it where the work becomes appropriate and we don't overdo it. I think that the more we disconnect from ourselves, the more we overcompensate by overworking, by adding too many bells and whistles, by going off the deep end, by doing too much, by doubting what we're doing, by thinking it's not enough. And the more we connect with ourselves, the more we have a sense for what enough looks like. The more we're able to say, you know what, I put enough work today. I'm stopping here. I'll come back tomorrow. Like if I don't connect with myself throughout the day, it is harder for me to find that stopping point. And that stopping point, I think like it's a line where you went from we are doing an appropriate amount of work today and it is enough, and you if you don't connect with yourself, you miss that. Like you can't see that line and you go off the deep end where you're kind of in this trajectory toward abusing yourself and abusing your energy, and your eyes are straining, you haven't gotten up to go pee, you didn't eat lunch, and like that's self-abuse. And that is literally just crossing over the line. And that line becomes harder and harder to see when we don't take breaks and we don't reconnect with ourselves. Especially if you have ADHD, is the hyperfocus takes over and it's just 10 times harder to see that line. And so those breaks are even more important because it keeps the hyperfocus from superseding your humanity and it keeps you as a person in the driver's seat. And so that's one big thing that happens. The other thing that happens is you're just going to be healthier for taking breaks. When I look back at past videos and pictures of myself, I can see how bad my posture was getting. Like I had kids, and that was affected my core. I had to rebuild my core, but I was in a chair all day working because I have an online business. So I'm in front of a computer, and the cumulative years of working in front of a computer was really messing up my posture, and it was having downstream effects. And if you look up what are the effects of bad posture and good posture, it is not just, oh, you stand up straight or you don't stand up straight. It is going to affect so many things: your breathing, how you look, how you move, how you feel, how your body functions, how your body is able to work better or worse. And it all connects to your posture. And so one of the things I do when I take breaks is I have exercises dedicated to posture. And over time of doing this, I've noticed, like, I think I was just like walking by a mirror one day and I looked at the mirror and I was like, whoa, my neck looks twice as long. And it was because I had reclaimed my posture. Like I literally look different in my face, in my neck, in my back, everything, because I've been able to reclaim my posture through taking breaks. Like I didn't stop working at a computer, but I stopped chronically working at a computer. And I started doing the exercises to reverse the damage of working at a computer. And this is something we all need to take seriously because they say that sitting is the new smoking, and there are so many negative consequences of sitting all day that this is more than just, oh, self-care. No, this is your health. This is serious. And what was the other thing I was going to mention? Oh, it has helped me. One of the big things it has helped me with is I have been getting so much better at listening to my body and hearing what it is telling me through these constant acts of self-care throughout the day. Because basically what you're doing is regulating frequently throughout the day, and your nervous system feels more and more safe. And so your intuition gets clearer and clearer. And so I've been so much more receptive to what my body is telling me. And the shifts that I have been making as a result have been incredible. Like my body was telling me to get rid of my bed and sleep on the floor, lower my desk and make it a floor desk, do a certain type of workout, do a certain type of morning routine. And I've just been listening and adding and making these changes little by little throughout the last year, basically. I think I got rid of my bed a year ago. And even right now, I am sitting on the floor. We took the legs off of my desk and we put on shorter legs so it can be on the floor. And I'm sitting on the floor, and I'm realizing that my body has been saying, you've always had these needs to feel grounded and to move your body throughout the day, and you were just not listening. And even before I knew I had ADHD, I was getting these messages of, Michelle, you need to get grounded. You need to get a weighted blanket. You need to sleep on the floor. You need to move your body more. You need to regulate more through movement. You need to stop going to the gym for an hour and instead break up the exercises and do micro workouts throughout the day. Like, all of these messages were coming through, not because I was, just looking for fitness advice and applying it, but it was like my body was telling me what it wanted and I was listening. And then I found out, oh, this is literally my needs as someone who needs extra ways and support around regulation. And if I wasn't prioritizing self-care, I wouldn't have noticed, because to prioritize self-care, you literally are just getting better at noticing your own needs and honoring them instead of putting it last or putting it till after work, because that's what we tend to do. Is we think, oh, I'm going to sit at my desk and I'm going to get all my work done, and then maybe I'll do something for myself tonight. And I'm trying to figure out I think that had to come from just the culture of a 9 to 5, where we have been, or even, the school system, where it's like, you just sit down, ignore your body, and get your homework done, get your schoolwork done, get your work done, get your job done. And then after you get everything done, maybe you can be happy. Maybe you can do what makes you happy. And then I'm like, okay, we have to detox from that. And what is the holistic way? Because I'm not saying not to work. We all need to work, but it has completely gotten out of proportion. And there's no reason to just work in these huge chunks of time and push through. It's like, why not work in small bites? And between those bites, we do other things, like do a little bit of work, go do your laundry, do a little bit of work, and then do an act of self-care, do a little bit of work, and then do a workout, do a little bit of work, and then eat a beautiful lunch. Like, why do we not think that that's an option? And I think it's because, multiple things, but one of the things that happens if you first try to do this is you do feel the tension that it's not that easy. You feel like, oh, I was trying to do this thing where I did more self-care throughout the day, and then I didn't get my work done, and now I'm missing the deadline, and now I'm not doing this, and now I'm behind on that. And so that is going to come up, and that puts you at a crossroads where it's a fork in the road and you have to choose, okay, well, what's the answer here? Is the answer that I just cannot take breaks and do more self-care throughout the day? I have to go back to getting all my work done first? Or is the answer that, wait a minute, my work needs to change? Something about my work needs to change. Something about this does not make sense, because why should I have to sacrifice my health, my self-care, my well-being, my life in order to get work done? And I can look back over my time working, whether with clients, whether with my own business, whether with jobs I used to have or whatever. And I can see, man, if I had this connection to my well-being and my self-care, then, oh my goodness, I would have done things differently, and it would not have hurt it wouldn't have hurt anything. It wouldn't have, because that's the feeling is, oh my gosh, if I don't get my work done, then I won't make as much money. Or, oh my gosh, if I don't, do everything today, then my business won't grow. And that is the lie, because chances are there are probably dozens and dozens of ways that you could do things differently, and so many options that you can't see because the only lens that you've been practicing is the lens of sacrifice myself and work hard. But there are other routes. There are routes where it's like, how can we do this faster? How can we do this more simply? How can we do this with better boundaries? How can we do this with better prices? How could we do this with better systems? But we don't ask ourselves those questions if our main lever is just sacrifice, 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 work hard, work hard, work hard. But if we are coming from a place of, I refuse to sacrifice myself, I refuse to sacrifice my posture, my well-being, my health in order to get this result in my work, I refuse to do that. Now we can start looking at work through different lenses. And then we'll start making different decisions that actually puts us in a position where we're smarter at the work we're doing. We're seeing how we can do things differently. We're putting in place the systems that free up our time and energy. We're retiring the offers that are no longer aligned. We're putting in place the boundaries that keep us from overworking. Like all of these things can start to happen as a downstream effect of no longer sacrificing your well-being. So this is not just a cute idea of, oh, let's do self-care throughout the day. This is how, if you really want your business to grow from a place of alignment where over time you're working less but making more, then the strategy is not to figure out, well, how do I grow my email list and how do I do this? How do I do that? That's a byproduct. That's not the focus. The focus is, how do I multiply my self-care by 10? How do I 10x my self-care? And then as a byproduct, you will start seeing the things that you can do in your business for it to grow more without you working more. And that is what I have been experiencing throughout this journey of doing it for myself. Like anytime I feel like, you know what, I would like my business to grow more, but I don't want to work more. I'm not afraid of work. I want to work appropriately. I don't want to overwork. And I would like to make more money from the work I'm doing. If that's a desire, I don't think, well, what do I need to do? I think, okay, where can I raise the ceiling on how much I'm taking care of myself? Because I know if I do that, it will make me smarter and it will make me feel like I have the capacity to, solve bigger problems and make bigger money. Because that's the other thing too, is the money your business makes, the things you do in your business that makes money is a reflection of the capacity you feel you have. So if we feel that we only have the capacity for, like for instance, let's say that you know that if you hosted a live round for one of your programs, then that would be a opportunity to increase income. Like, let's just be very specific in this example. However, how does that feel to someone who's already running on empty? How does that feel to someone who's already working too hard? How does that feel to someone who's already desperate for a break? They would not feel the capacity to hold that opportunity, to hold that idea. Like, it would not be a match for the capacity that they currently have. But it could bring in a ton of revenue. You could make thousands and thousands of dollars if you were in a position to do that idea. And we can switch it out with any idea. Because the reality is, you will only do the ideas that you have capacity for. And if your capacity is small, then you're going to do small ideas. If your capacity is big, then you'll do bigger ideas. And the bigger ideas have the power to make bigger money. So how do we expand our capacity? You expand your capacity not by working harder. You expand your capacity by taking care of yourself more. And so the more I take care of myself, the more emotionally available I am for the bigger ideas that make bigger revenue. But if I feel overworked, drained, haven't been taking care of myself, then I am only a match for really small opportunities, really small ideas that could make some money, but it's always going to feel like I'm overworked and underpaid. Versus if I've been taking care of myself, taking breaks, taking my walks, eating right, eating well, doing my exercises, drinking my water, all the things, then now all of a sudden I have the capacity to create a new program that is way more 3.0 than I've ever done before. I have the capacity to open my coaching, to do more one-on-ones with people. I have the capacity to do a live round for one of my programs. I have the capacity to learn how to do something completely new that I've never done before. Like all of that is capacity, and capacity cannot grow if you are depleted. And so we kind of have to look at what is the downstream effect of what we're prioritizing, and do we need to shift our priorities to have better downstream effects? Do we need to put self-care above work for the flow to flow better versus work above self-care, and then we wonder why things are stagnating and backing up? So that is what I wanted to talk about today. If this sounds good to you, check out my Tender Timer tool. I will link it in the description, and come back and listen to this episode whenever you feel like you just need a reminder, because it does take time to detox from the thinking that, oh, I just need to work harder. No, you need to 10x your self-care. Thank you for listening to the Magic is You podcast. If you would like to join our newsletter, go to secretowlsociety.org/newsletter. See you next time.